So hello, everyone. Good morning. Very good morning to you. I'm delighted to welcome Rodrigo Ábnner and Vanessa Pinheiro to our coffee morning session. Greetings as well from my co-directors, Donna Machot and Max Green. Rodrigo Ábnner is a tenured professor at the Federal Institute of Ceará, Brazil since 2016, and Rodrigo is also pursuing his PhD studies in management at the same university. His main research is in the area of entrepreneurship, is looking into creative economies and creative cities. Vanessa just completed her bachelor's degree and her master's degree in business, and she's currently a member from the state of Ceará universities. They are working together. Vanessa and Rodrigo are working together on a very interesting project aiming to integrate marginalized individuals within the policy frameworks within the city and ensuring that they've got access to opportunities and possibilities granted by their country, by Brazil. So thank you very much, Rodrigo and Vanessa, for joining us. And Gianluca is part of the team as well. Thank you very much, Gianluca. I hand over to you, Gianluca.
Thank you very much, Penelope, and everyone. Just a couple of words. I don't want to take the stage at all. I first of all would like to thank Rodrigo and Vanessa for coming over and present and discuss their work. I also want to take the opportunity to thank the Earth Institute, Penelope, and everyone also behind the scene for organizing these events. SmartFit Business School, who is hosting Rodrigo for his visit. He managed, despite all the difficulties of these times, to get funded by the government coming over. So a bit of thanks for them as well. And lastly, just a couple of words about EGOS, because that's where we met. Basically, EGOS is, for those who do not know about it, is the European Group for Organization Studies. I would say it's the main management studies conference in Europe. We have been running sessions. We have a working group there. We have been running sessions since 2018 in Tallinn, Estonia. You can see that we moved from different topics related to city organizing and governance, leadership. More recently, we are reviewing papers on development goals, sustainable development goals, and that's a bit the extended network that also Rodrigo is part of, and that's where we met. There is a public mailing list. People are welcome to contribute and read. Having said that, it's time for them to tell their own story. So thank you very much, and I leave it to you.
Thank you, Professor Gianluca. Thank you, Penelope, for this warm welcome from the UCD Earth Institute. We are really glad to be here and having this opportunity to present our work for all of you. So I would like to say that I have taken a look to some research themes that the Earth Institute is interested in, so such as people, work, and society, and sustainable communities. And I think that your work will bring enlightenment to our research. So I'm really excited to look into these studies. And I hope that our presentation today will bring you some new ideas for futures research as well. So next one, Vanessa, please. You're commanding our slides. So the presentation today is about two research, okay? One is still under development. That is my dissertation, and after that, Vanessa's. And mine has the following title: An Inclusive Organizing Through Creative Economy, the Case of a Creative City in Brazil. Okay, and the main goal of this research is to analyze the Fortaleza Creative City of Design project and its possible effects on the organizing for an inclusive city. But what is Fortaleza? And what is this Fortaleza Creative City of Design project that we are talking about? So Fortaleza is a big city in Brazil. It's one of the top 10 most important cities in this country that in 2019 was sanctioned as a creative city of design by UNESCO through the UNESCO Creative Cities Network. And this Creative Cities Network is a group or a network, as the word already say, that aims to promote the creative economy in the world, and also to promote the sharing of experiences of the cities that are members of this network. Okay, so far we have 246 cities that make up this network, and Fortaleza was just designated as one of them in the category of design. Next, please. To talk briefly about the city, it's a beautiful Brazilian city, as you can see from the pictures, but to talk specifically about the creative economy in there, I can say that more than half of the creative jobs are in the design segment. So you have the fashion design, the interior design, the graphical design, and most of the half of the professionals that work in the creative industries are in the segment. So it's very important to the city. However, Fortaleza suffers from a huge social inequality, okay? The city has 15 times of income discrepancy when putting its zones in comparison. 7% of its citizens are concentrated on the richest zones of the city. And that way, the city is divided in two sides. You have one rich side and one poor side. That is the east and the west. Next one. I'm not going to enter in details about the theoretical approaches we are using right now because we have a short of time, of course. But one of them, for us to understand the results so far, one of these theoretical approaches is important to mention. That is the strategy as practice approach. Okay, and this theoretical approach considers that all actors are important in the strategizing process and not only the main institutional ones. So in this image, we have the main institutional actors that put everybody together in order to construct or to build the candidature for Fortaleza as a creative city along with UNESCO. Okay, but not only them were important because we are also considering other actors that we're going to talk briefly in one moment. Talking also about the research we conducted so far, 21 in-depth interviews with these actors that were part of this project. Also 3 participant observations at the City Hall, Fortaleza City Hall meetings about the same thing, the same issue. And also we are conducting some documental analysis about this moment. And to help in the data analysis, we are also using some procedures of a methodology called ground theory in order to categorize and in order to organize and develop the results and to develop the analysis itself. And to quote some results we already have, we were able to identify around 50 actors that were involved in the Fortaleza Creative City of Design project, including these institutional ones that you can see on the screen, like the Fortaleza City Hall and the Ceará state government or the Iracema Institute, okay? The institutional actors, the creative entrepreneurs, also the professionals from the design segment were called in order to construct or to build the project, and also members from the civil society. So we did this, we identified these 50 actors, right? And they together, they work together to obtain this title for the city that has a lot of social projects that aims to include the marginalized population into the creative economy. That is the main theme of research from my colleague Vanessa, that you present her work right now.
Well, good morning, everyone. As Rodrigo said, in this contest of the Creative City of Design of Fortaleza, we have one of the biggest projects of which is the Creative Zone of the City of Fortaleza. The creative zone is supposed to be a territory of synergy between entrepreneurs, residents, and public service providers. They also are recognized for their ability to produce innovative solutions to the everyday problems of their population. And also all the projects that are going to be carried out throughout the next years in the creative zone need to be developed between university, government, and business. In this way, the community of Poço da Draga is part of the spaces where the creative zone of Fortaleza will be implanted. And to get to know a little bit more about this community, Poço da Draga is a community of 114 years of history. They also are between one of the most valued urban spaces in the city. However, there are about 1,026 people living in precarious settlements in the community without basic sanitation, lack of public security, and even suffering from attempts of gentrification. So the main question of my research is, how is the community of Poço da Draga being integrated in the organizing of the creative zone of Fortaleza? And to answer this question, we did we analyzed a lot of official documents from the creative zones. We interviewed the leaders of projects from the Poço da Draga from this community. And we did observations of the community and the spaces around the community, the zones. And interviews with field manager projects from the creative zone. At the moment, there are several practices and projects being organized in the community of Poço da Draga. Until now, I could count about 15 projects that are happening. And from this, we were able to perceive that the community is not just a passive actor. The community is all the time trying to circumvent the established order, putting into practice in the space a lot of tactics that are creative and still hidden. And some of this practice are aligned with some of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And the power for these projects to happen inside the community, inside Poço da Draga, they don't need to come from above. They start from the bottom, from inside the community. Some projects are Artevistas, Valeu Mar ONG, and Poço de Cultura. They aim a better quality education for the people for the community, and they do a lot of practices related to learning and cultural activities. We also have Composta Poço and Creative Communities Project. They work with sustainable practices. We have also Feirinha do Poço and Rolê na PI. They aim to develop the economy in the community and to provide more decent work for the people that live inside Poço da Draga. And finally, we have Velo Mar again, which is an ONG. It's the only ONG that has inside the community, and they give dance classes and sport training classes to elderly people. There is also a document from the Creative Zone, which is the Territorial Action Plan. It was published in 2018, and where the only projects planned for the community of Poço da Draga involve installing an electric container, land regularization, and painting the residents' houses. So we can see that inside of these documents, they don't really have the projects that are going on right now inside the community. And at last, a lot of the evidences that we were able to gather show an organization of creative space practices inside the community that are still hidden and with a lot of potentiality to act in the integration of the community of Poço da Draga to the creative zone of Fortaleza. However, the creative zone itself that is being planned does not seem to recognize the diversity of creative practices that are being organized on a daily basis by the residents of the community of Poço da Draga. And these are our main references, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vanessa and Rodrigo. Those are very interesting presentations. They are very interesting studies that you are undertaking. Are there any questions? Do we have any questions, any comments with regards to the work being conducted by Rodrigo and Vanessa? Gianluca, please.
Just a quick one. Thanks a lot. Just general question. Sometimes these creative economies tend to push for gentrification, but gentrification is also a process according to which the locals are priced out. They have to move. So basically there are two opposing forces. You have projects that support creativity, which may generate gentrification, which in turns push some people out. How do you manage, or how do this project manage these two? Is there some compensation there between, I don't know, these different parties involved?
I think that, as Vanessa said, the community of Poço da Draga is located already in a very rich zone of the city. It's like in the middle of a really wealthy neighborhood. Okay, so I think, Vanessa, do you identify in your work any indication that the creative economy can be used to cause this kind of gentrification? Because in my research so far, I'm not going to directly this kind of community. I think Vanessa is exploring this situation more deeply. So I would like to hear from her.
So basically, as Rodrigo said, Poço da Draga, this community is between one of the most richest neighborhoods here in the city. And throughout history, they suffered a lot from requalification, and the private sector is always trying to buy their land to build luxurious buildings, always. And the thing is, they resist a lot with these projects and these practices that they do a lot. And a lot of the things that I could gather throughout the discourse during the interviews is that all of these projects that they build with the help of the community is to help the people to own their place, to know that they live there and that's their place, and that they don't need to leave their houses and the community to other places. So they resist. And I couldn't gather really how the creative city entered this kind of situation, but I know that the community itself, they resist every day throughout these projects that they build.
Yes, and this is historical resistance is not from 2019 when Fortaleza obtained this title. As Vanessa said, it's a community with more than 100 years that they resist until now. Okay, yes. Despite the importance of the creative economy that was just happened in the 2011, I think, in Brazil. You know, I don't know if we answered your question properly, but
yeah, there's no final answer. I could just guess that these two forces go in different directions, and I don't know how they encounter.
Yes, and I think if you don't have other questions, I can discuss a little more about the situation of these creative districts that includes the Poço da Draga. My research so far, we are trying to understand if this title of Fortaleza Creative City of Design will bring social inclusion. Okay, so far we identified, Vanessa identified also, a lot of projects that aims to promote this kind of inclusion. Like, Vanessa, can you put it on the third slide, please?
Sure.
Slide number 3.
Slide number 3 or
yes,
mine?
The 3.
Okay.
Mine 3, yes. Yes. We have some SDGs over here that we can relate to the Fortaleza Creative City of Design project, including quality education. So this title aims to offer design courses to the population, you know, and also gender equality, because there are some projects involving women in the fashion and sustainable production of clothes just made for women in the creative zone that we are calling also creative district. And we have also the SDGs 8, 9, and 12. They are talking about the economic growth and the industry, or maybe the investments on equipment for the development of design activities like computers or materials about it. And also the responsible consumption and production, that they are using sustainable materials or recycled materials to produce some kinds of goods into the creative economy, such as like art and crafts and paintings, and not only clothes. And we also can relate the 17 partnership for the goals, that it's the UNESCO Creative Cities Network itself. The cities are collaborating in order to share their best experiences in order to promote this kind of creative economy. So about the results so far, sometimes the responses that I'm having from the community when I interviewed them, it's that they don't have this feeling that they are actually being included. Sometimes, yeah, the city hall did an event here last week, but also that was left for the community was to do the cleaning of the beach, you know. Sometimes they don't feel like they are included. So this is what I'm looking for right now.
Yeah,
And
so
also, okay.
Sorry to interrupt. Just a question. So it means that the cities or this city is coming up with a plan, and it's not consulting with the marginalized stakeholders. And then the city, it's claiming that it's including individuals, but the individuals do not feel that they are being included. Is that correct? Or are they co-creating initiatives for including marginalized stakeholders?
No, they include the marginalized stakeholders. Even when they were constructing the project to be submitted to UNESCO, okay? They called this population to participate, and there was this, we identified the co-creation aspect really exists. But as I'm having also initial results, some in-depth interviews that I conducted in the community points also to this direction, that they are not feeling included already. But I have to look deeper in the situation and see if it really is not happening, because I have to have statistical information, and I have to go deeper interviewing other members of this community of Poço da Draga. But some answers indicate that they are not feeling included yet.
Okay, fantastic. We have a question from Meg Screen. That's one of the co-directors for People, Work and Society. Please, Meg.
Thank you. Great presentation, brilliant topic. Can I just ask the drivers then, I'm very interested in this because I'm involved in trying to drive a community wealth building model in my own local area, between, say, the council and now trying to build the public's awareness, because a lot of it is building people and the community's awareness of what they can demand as much as what is given. Is this being driven then by the municipal because it's endorsed by UNESCO, or is it being driven by community groups? Who's the kind of driving force to make sure this happens and then is sustained and is really inclusive, as you're pointing out?
You're talking about who is driving for the projects around this title to happen? Okay, so we have these main institutional actors like Fortaleza City Hall. Vanessa, if you can put on that results that I put on the screen, right? So you have this on the lower bottom, the Iracema Institute. He is one of the main actors that are responsible for this to happen, along with the Fortaleza City Hall and this Ceará Design Association. I think that if I have to give you an answer, I would quote these three, okay? But there are a lot of projects that are around this title, okay? But I think that by now, after they
can anyone hear me? Is it just myself or did we lose Rodrigo?
Yes, we lost him. I'll send him a message.
Okay, so well, my sense is that based on what you have presented, so elegantly presented, I think that something must have happened on the way to heaven. They co-created some projects, but on the way along the implementation, it seems like the marginalized actors are starting to feel like they are excluded. Is that correct, Vanessa?
Yes, at least with the first findings from the interviews, a lot of the leaders of projects that are happening right now inside the community, they say that the only contact that they had was to create. They had the contact from the City Hall, Fortaleza City Hall, and Iracema Institute to create a favela observatory. We have a favela observatory here in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro. And they wanted to build this observatory inside the community of Poço da Draga, but that never happened because of COVID, and they couldn't make the meetings and everything else. But all of the other projects that they do, they're not included right now in the creative zone. And one of the managers from the creative zone told me that she kind of knew that all of these projects are going on, and that maybe in the future, she wanted to make a list of all the projects, which was something that I did for my dissertation, because she wanted to get to know more, get to know better the community or what they're doing and what they can contribute to the economy of the region.
Thank you very much, Vanessa. And I think Max was pointing to the issue of ownership. Who is driving the project? Who feels like they own the project? So I think that's one element that's probably challenging at the moment to all parties involved. I don't know, I'm just making assumptions based on my understanding of your presentation. Do we have any questions? Are there any other questions? Dear audience, do we have any more questions for the team?
He's back.
Oh, hi, Rodrigo.
Hi, hello. I think I disconnected here. I don't know how much did you heard my answer, but I was talking that nowadays the three main institutions that are ahead for this project are the Ceará Design Association, Fortaleza City Hall, and the Iracema Institute. If I have to give an answer, I will say these main three institutions.
Okay, then. I don't know, if we don't have any questions, I would think that we've come to the end of our talk today. Can
I make a very quick remark? Just a note, a second.
Yes, please, Gianluca, please.
I think it's interesting to keep in mind what happened on the other side of the world and much closer to Dublin, actually in Liverpool, because being part of the UNESCO, gives prestige, legitimation to your policies and so on. But there, the waterfront was part of UNESCO heritage. I think last year it was withdrawn. So because they didn't respect the original ideas of the waterfront in Liverpool and so on. So this is to say that this UNESCO legitimation is not something that once you get it forever. And the same may apply there. If your area, the area you're studying, is going to be too gentrified, too exposed to some kind of developments that do not match with the initial idea of the UNESCO heritage recognition, this may get lost. So I think that that's useful also for the people there to say, look, it's not something that once you get that flag, you can keep building whatever you like just because the flag is there forever. You get off balance, you lose that. So just something that
yes,
I
also would like to point that Dublin is also a creative city from the same network. Dublin is a creative city of literature. And I'm not sure how the academics in Dublin are studying this context, maybe in this kind of context of social exclusion, but maybe it's something interesting to see, how Dublin, a city of literature, is being studied and in what context it happens in your universities here in the country. Perhaps.
Well, you are in the right place then.
Yes, sure.
All right. Thank you very much for this very interesting talk, and it's addressing one of the grand challenges that all stakeholders, all powerful actors really paying attention to and need to increase or need to continue supporting. And I think if there are no questions, I would say that's the end of our coffee meeting for today, unless we have a question or another quick comment from someone.
I would like to say just thank you. If you don't have any more questions, of course, I think for this opportunity, and I hope to meet you soon at UCD if you are living here in Dublin and working face-to-face in the university, of course. And
Great.
I'm hoping to meet you all in person.
Thank you very much, Rodrigo. Thank you very much, Vanessa. Vanessa, would you like to say something as well at the end?
I want to thank you for receiving me here. It's a really, really great opportunity. And thank you, Rodrigo, for inviting me. And I hope we can meet in the future as well.
Thank you very much to both of you. And thank you very much to everyone in attendance today. Will and Catriona, thank you very much for organizing this. Max, thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Penelope.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.